Jump rope consists of two basic moves. One is turning the rope, the other is jumping over the rope. And in this video we're going to focus on the turn. So this is Shana Brady with Tim Haft from Punk Rope. And you see Shana is currently turning her green wrist trainer. We'll get into how to make a wrist trainer in a little bit. Next to her she also has her Green Day jump rope. Both tools will work fine for the purpose of training your wrist rotation and improving your turning mechanics. So Shana and I were just discussing jump rope basics and how a lot of folks think they've got rope jumping, they've got it down, when in fact their turns are accomplished mostly with their elbows and shoulders. So sure, they're jumping rope, but they're exhausting themselves. And if you watch Shana here, you've got that elbow flexing, extending, flexing, extending. How long can anyone last like that before they fatigue? And the answer is not very long. You're gonna get tired super fast. So the key to jumping rope successfully is turning with the wrist. And to improve, what we've done is design something we call a wrist trainer, which is nothing more than half of a jump rope. Shauna's going to bring it up to the camera. So you see there's the handle, there's the half the rope, and at the end is a little end cap that we've put on. You don't even necessarily need that, but it does add a little bit of weight to the end. And you want to trim this so that as you're turning with your wrist, the bottom of the wrist trainer just grazes the ground. Even if it hits 6 inches or so in front, that is fine. Now Shauna's positioned herself next to an orange line, because the goal with this is to rotate your wrist so that you're manipulating the rope such that it is striking the same spot repeatedly. And there you can see she's doing an awesome job. So basically, now that was a little less of an awesome job. What we're trying to avoid is the wrist trainer coming across the midline. Now you can see it's coming way across to the left. Likewise, we're trying to avoid it sliding back toward the heels. Neither of those things is optimal. So it's going to take a little bit of practice, and typically we start with the dominant hand. Shauna's right-handed. She's trying to keep her shoulders stable. And guys, if you focus in on her right wrist as she turns, you'll see that there is virtually no movement at her elbow, and there is no movement at her shoulder. This turn is being accomplished entirely by her wrist. Now this is her dominant hand, so you'd expect that she'd be a little more proficient. But now here she is with her left hand, and Shauna's had a lot of practice, so she's equally proficient. But a lot of you might find this challenging to go with the non-dominant hand, so you're going to need to practice. This is useful to do with a partner or a coach, or even videotape yourself so that you can watch how much motion is there either at the elbow or at the shoulder. Ideally, there's almost none, because once you're able to accomplish the turn just with the wrist, your rope jumping is going to improve exponentially. You won't get nearly as tired, and you'll be able to do things with the rope that you haven't been able to do before. Now you might be asking, well, what if I don't have a wrist trainer? Okay, that's not really a problem. What you could do is take your jump rope. Now preferably plastic rope is going to work better for this. You might be okay with cable rope, but here's a typical plastic rope. This is our Green Day rope, and all Shana has done is fold it in half So she's got both handles in her right hand. And now she's going to do exactly what she did before, and you'll see that although this is going to be a little bit heavier to turn, maybe a little bit clumsier because it's both handles as opposed to one, she's still getting the same benefit. Okay, and that's her dominant hand, and she could do the same thing with her non-dominant hand. Now, in another video where we cover double unders, we'll talk about the double turn, but just suffice it to say that you will be able to use the same methodology, the same tools for that. And also, we're not going to get into using this with jumping too much, but I'll just point out that yes, you can use your wrist trainer and jump simultaneously. For some folks, it may feel a little awkward. The timing might be confusing, but for those of you who are already pretty proficient with your jumping, it should be just fine to do the two together. Turn, jump, turn, jump. But again, the key here is training that wrist, getting comfortable, getting relaxed. We've covered grip in other videos, but you'll see Shana's got a light grip, her thumb on top, about halfway down the handle. And we think this is just a terrific little exercise to take your rope jumping to the next level. Always got to get the arm wrap in there in some form or another. Don't knock yourself out. Okay guys, wrist rotation, really important for your rope jumping. Thanks so much for joining us and watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe to our channel and feel free to visit us at punkrope.com. We'll see you next time.